Hey, this is Brenda from Dimensional Dyeing and Phyto Designs and Fiber. So I thought I'd share with you a couple of tips to keeping your lace weight yarn, your lace weight hand-dyed yarn from breaking when you are reskeining it, if you reskein your yarn. Now I reskein my hand-dyed yarn for my customers to avoid this whole mess. It just seems like no matter how many ties I put into the yarn, it's pretty messy, and with lace weight in particular, there can be some really heinous knots hiding in those tangles. And so what I do is, before I even put the skein on the Swift for my nifty electric reskeiner, I work out as many tangles as possible. We actually call this untwangling. This is a term my 78 going on 79-year-old dad came up with because he was helping me skein yarn a couple years ago, and he got to be pretty good at working out potential twangles. So we untwangle the lace weight yarn as much as possible, and sometimes that's just a matter of kind of pulling apart these areas to break up any potential knots or ties, and then feed it through the tension guides, put it onto the clip or whatever your system is that you use for skeining your yarn. And then what I do is I rotate by hand the skeiner the first few rotations. I just want to work out by hand as slowly as possible any areas that I missed, because when I put this potentially twangled yarn on the Swift part of the skeiner, I'm trying to make sure that the yarn is coming out from underneath. That just creates less pressure on the yarn. If you're pulling it down overhead, it has to pull the whole skein down. If you are coming from underneath, then it's just feeding it and pulling it along. So I make sure that's happening, and I try to make sure that the thread that's coming out is on the surface of the yarn and not underneath or twisted, because that will lead to breakage. So the other thing I do after I go through a few rotations, and often I have to stop and adjust the skeins doing this, is I hold in place the Swift side so that it doesn't rotate yet, and I turn on my electric skeiner. And then what I do is I turn it as low as I can. This is not a time for speed. And then I need to come back up and do a little hand feeding. Turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. And then I don't walk away. I watch this for a while. This is about the halfway point, but this is 875 yards of superfine merino and silk that I just do not want to break. So those are a couple of my tips. Keep a close eye on it. I don't usually skein 2 lace weight skeins at once because you have potentially twice the breakage, but I have a lot of lace weight yarn to skein today in my pile of reskeining. So these 2 skeins looked pretty safe, and let's just hope that I don't end up sobbing and eating those words. So again, this is Brenda from Dimensional Dyeing, and I just wanted to show you that little tip that I've learned from many broken skeins of lace weight yarn. I hope you have a week that is full of color and life.